I did promise to show you a new build on the Ashimmu, and I believe it is really time to change the 2-year-old build on this ship. I've actually used the same modules and the same rigs on this Ashimmu for more than 2 years now. That is impressive because this build still holds up to this day without a problem. But it will be time to make the Ashimmu a little bit more lethal. So, what did I change on this ship? Now, when I open the fitting window, I still like to use my beam lasers. I love to use beam lasers on the Ashimmu, although I also use the pulse lasers. Change the adaptive fields into A types. The large shield booster is also A type, and I believe the afterburner is also A type. Now onto the rigs. I kept this Ashimmu a shield tank. Basically for 2 years the ship has been a shield tank and it proved to be very good. Now as for the rigs, I did use the same rig combination as on the Maelstrom. That means maximum possible resistance and maximum possible shield repair. So here you can take a look at the rigs. Overall, so far it was working really well on a battleship, so it will work really well on a cruiser. It should boost around 1,500 shield every 3.6 seconds. You can take a look at the cold shield resistances, which also look really nice. As for the rigs, I focused on capacitor recharge rate and capacitor volume, and of course I have increased the power grid on the Ashimmu in order to fit the large booster, large Nosferatu and micro warp drive. 2048 power grid, which is really good. Capacitor lasts 3 minutes and 37 seconds. 9476 is the overall capacity, which is really good for a cruiser. Now let's take a look at the speed, and of course at the resistance. Should be very interesting to see how it holds up after the big change. So 68,771 effective hit point, 82, 82, 83 and 82% resistance, which is really good. Extremely balanced. I love the fact that it's so well balanced. Should be really good against basically all weapon systems that we have in the game. DPS is okay. Capacitor 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Speed is 1008.52 meter per second, which is a little bit better than before. I have worked on some of my skills and I did change the nano core, which so far works really well. Now let's take a look at the micro warp drive speed. Should be a lot better than before. Now the DPS and the tank remain the same, which is really good. I'm really happy with that. Capacitor 1 minute and 43 seconds, 2140.63 meter per second is the speed with the micro warp drive, which for this ship is really good. And I'm actually very happy with the micro warp drive speed. My goal would be to increase that to around 3000 meter per second. That would be the end goal speed with the micro warp drive, but at the moment this speed is also really nice, and you can slingshot a lot of ships with this fit, which I think I'll be doing in the future. Now to show you how fast the shield goes back up, I did go and take some shield damage. It's sitting at around 10% at the moment. So let's see how quickly I boost the shield. Well, that's actually very impressive and very quick. And the shield is full with couple boost cycles. Well, definitely at least 50 to 60% better than the previous build, and overall the tankiness of the ship should be greatly improved with this build. Quite a expensive build, yes, but it should run really good, and I guess it will be time to see how the Ashimmu will perform. Now, our first target for today, we have one Praxis. Okay, that's interesting.
Warp drive active.
Very interesting to fight the ships. You never know what you can get. So they are using medium drones. Okay, I will try to tackle them. Looks like this Praxis is a armor tank. Now, I made a little mistake. I thought that I clicked on the disruptor on time, but obviously I was a little bit too late, so now I have to wait for the Praxis to return, and then I will attempt to shoot them down. Okay, so the Praxis has returned, and this time they actually engaged first. They started to lock me on, but they have landed right in my optimal range, which is working so far really good for me. They have been webbed and pointed. Now I will maintain the 24-kilometer orbit. I have 82% shield resistance on EM, so I should be good against those medium drones. Praxis is using cruise missiles. They are also using a large Nosferatu. Although this Praxis is not going to win the capacitor game with the Ashimmu. I just have to wait for a very long time until the capacitor of that ship is depleted. Now there's a chance that they are using capacitor batteries. If they are using capacitor batteries, then it will take a little bit longer for the capacitor on that ship to be depleted, but eventually the capacitor will be depleted because of the change that was done in the latest April balance patch for the capacitor batteries. So I've been fighting with the Praxis for a while now, and it looks like both of our tanks are holding really well. Both of our capacitors also holding really well. This is one very nice fit on the Praxis, and I'm very curious to see what fit they have on that ship. One of the tankiest Praxis battleships that I've fought so far. Their capacitor is also really good. Now I have to be careful. I don't want to fly between the other ships in this storyline mission, so I'll just do some manual flying, because why not? Have to be careful not to fly between the webs and scramblers. Now I'm pretty sure that this Praxis is using at least one or two webs, maybe one web, one scrambler, so I have to maintain the range. Basically any distance above 14 kilometers is okay. I've been sitting here for like maybe, I don't know, 8 minutes shooting this Praxis, and they are still holding really well. Very impressive. Definitely going to be very excited to see the fit on this ship. Although I feel like their capacitor is slowly going down. They definitely have capacitor batteries, at least one, because now the armor is slowly going down, and I see that they are stopping with the armor repair. That means they don't have any more capacitor left. My capacitor at 47%. I would say they are at around 10 to 5% capacitor, because I think they don't have enough capacitor to keep the armor repairs running. Obviously they are using at least 2 armor repairers, but now we have the DPS and the Praxis is in hull. I did lose a drone while fighting the Praxis, I just noticed that. So the drone was the only loss in this fight, but we have destroyed the Praxis. And yes, that was a very, very solid build on that battleship. I think this might be the tankiest Praxis that I fought in a very long time. overall, very good fit and a very nice fight. Now let me take range and let's wait out the criminal timer.
Warp drive active.
Alright, warping towards the next target. We have a cruiser wolfpack running around. Well, I'm actually part of that cruiser wolfpack. Flying cruisers in a fleet is very fun. I love that. And we have a Dominix. Alright. You know, there is something very satisfying in shooting down a Dominix with a Ashimmu. Not quite sure why, but I really enjoy shooting these ships with an Ashimmu. Might be because the Ashimmu is just a very tanky cruiser and I can take a lot of damage with this little ship. I noticed that my ship here is a little bit slower. That's because I think I am using a C-type afterburner here. Not quite sure why I didn't fit the A-type afterburner. And I think I used the tungsten nanocore, but the nanocore doesn't really affect the speed much because both cores that I use have around the same bonus on speed. But the afterburner definitely is the main module that improves the speed on this thing a lot. Well, this Dominix is now into low hull and they have been destroyed. Very nice. Now let's take range. Was a very solid Dominix kill. Now I will wait out the criminal timer and we can, after the timer, we can go towards the next target. We have another Dominix. Now this Dominix did warp away, so that's why I am so far away from this ship at the moment. I was orbiting around the mission, did expect them to warp at the same range, but I was wrong. They actually warped back at 100 kilometers. But we have a tackle interceptor and they have been tackled, so they are not going to go anywhere. I have to be careful not to fly too close to the elite Hyperion. They have a very strong web and most likely a scrambler, and those elite battleships can do some serious damage, so I'll try not to get too close to that battleship. "50 kilometers away from the Dominix and slowly approaching. They are using large drones, so we should be safe. Large drones will not have enough speed to catch a frigate, and I can easily tank large drones with the Ashimmu, so we all should be safe at the moment. I am now within the point and web range. They have been pointed and webbed. This Dominix has a micro web drive, so I really have to web them in order to hold them down. And they are now into hull. Around 40% hull. And they are also using a armor tank. Very nice. And the Dominix has been destroyed. I also forgot to mention that I was using a pulse laser fit on the Ashimmu, which is really nice. Alright, let's go towards the next target.
Warp drive active.
I think we have another battleship. If I remember correctly, it should be one Apocalypse, but we will see. Might be another Dominix. Yep, we have another Dominix. Okay, they are also using large drones. Excellent warping. They have been webbed and pointed, will orbit at 17 kilometers, also using the pulse laser fit on this ship. This Dominix seems to be a armor tank. And I think they also use one reactive armor hardener. Looks like I'll be flying inside of the storyline mission ships, so there's a chance that I might get scrambled and webbed. Or maybe not. 20 kilometers from the elite frigate, I should be safe. After all, I have a afterburner. One good aspect of the afterburner is the fact that you can use the afterburner even if you are scrambled, so you still have some speed
Warp drive active.
even when webbed and even when scrambled. Alright, let's go towards the next target.
Warp drive active.
We have one Apocalypse, okay, excellent warping. This Apocalypse is a sniper, so I will orbit at 20 kilometers and I should be good. It should not have enough tracking with beam lasers at this range, unless they use tracking computers. And I will also orbit a little bit outside of the web range, so that will help with surviving the beam lasers on the Apocalypse. Apocalypse losing shield. I think they might be a armor tank, or perhaps they don't have a tank. We will see. Apocalypse is now into armor. Looks like this Apocalypse is a armor tank, okay. I have been scrambled, but I will maintain the orbit. Apocalypse is now into hull, and they have been destroyed. Very nice. That was a nice kill and a very nice catch. Now let me take range. Let me take range from the ship that's scrambling me. Let me actually shoot them down, because that's the best way how you deal with these ships that can scramble you. Dual webs also help with that, because they really slow down your target. Dual predator webs. This Ashimmu is actually quite expensive. A very, very expensive Ashimmu, but it works. And I'm very, very happy with this ship. Alright, let's go towards the next target. We have one... Well, I see two Mahler cruisers, so let's engage them. I'll go after the first one, because they are actually closer. The second Mahler has warped out. We have only one Mahler left. They have been webbed and pointed. Now a Mahler can be super tanky. These things are very good ships, and I had couple, you know, moments where I couldn't break a Mahler tank with a Cinnabal that has 1.9 thousand DPS. So these things, if built properly, can really tank a lot of DPS. And I think that I should be flying one. I have a couple ideas for the Mauler. Alright, well, let's go towards the next target. Now you might remember the Mauler that did warp away. Well, there they are. I did return and engage them once they have returned. They have been pointed, they have been webbed. Now I will orbit at 21 kilometer. This Mauler has a very good tank. I think they are using one reactive armor hardener with one adaptive armor hardener. And of course the Mauler has base resistances from the bonus. So overall a very tanky cruiser. So it might take some time to break the tank on that ship, but it's not a big problem, because with the Ashimmu you don't break the tank of your target with the DPS, you break the tank of your target with the neutralizers and Nosferatus, or in this case with the large Nosferatu. Once the capacitor of your target is depleted or close to being depleted, then their tank is also going to be pretty much dead. And that's where your DPS comes into play, because no matter how low your DPS is, it will be enough to kill the target. And that's one of the reasons why I actually love to fly Blood Raider ships. They are scary. They kill your capacitor before they kill your ship. So you're just sitting there, looking at your ship slowly going down, while you can't do anything to repair your shield or armor. And that's what makes Blood Raider ships very scary. Alright, nice. This Mauler was a very good one. Let's take a look at the wreck. I think I did see one faction drone, not quite sure. Let's see what's inside of the wreck, and then I will warp away. Well, yes, there was a faction drone inside. I guess I will replace that one lost drone with a faction drone.
Warp drive active.
Will improve the DPS on the Ashimmu just a little bit. Although I might actually, you know what? I will use this faction drone, because why not? Okay, warping towards the next target. As you can see, I did equip the faction drone. Okay, we have 2 ships. 3 ships actually. Okay, primary will be the Battlecruiser, secondary will be the Prophecy, and the third target will be the Interceptor. Looks like the Prophecy has warped away. Alright. The Battlecruiser has been destroyed. Let's web the Interceptor. Interceptor has been webbed. And they are now going to be... Yep. Once the Interceptor lost speed, they have been destroyed. Very nice. That was a interesting way to end today's video. Well then, I would say today was a very nice day for hunting. We had some very nice kills and overall some nice fights. So with that being said, hope that you like the new Ashimmu build. I really like the build so far, works really well. Although not sure why I didn't use the A-type afterburner. But I guess that's just what happens. Next time I'll make sure to equip the A-type afterburner, because that little speed boost that you get from the A-type is really important. I do feel the difference between 928 and 1000 meters per second, although the difference on paper is not much, but in some situations it does really matter a lot. So with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. Stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.